Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the Wolf Den podcast. I'm your host, Ottoman, and I'm here with my friend Frenchie. Say hello, Frenchie.
How's it going? Frenchie's World here. Today we're going to be talking some Star Wars, theories people be bringing up that make no sense, and Bad Batch episode.
Yep, so we're starting on the newest Bad Batch episode. We're on episode 7 now. We haven't been covering any of the previous episodes. Not to say that we won't go back and talk about theories and events leading up to episode 7, but we haven't gotten the channel started until now, so we will be going over some old theories and also current theories that still stand, questions that have been answered, and then some stuff that other YouTube channels have been talking about, their theories, and of course, like Frenchie said, a lot of the nonsense that gets put out there, just the wackiest, dumbest theories. And so French, do you want to start? What do you want to start with?
I kind of want to bring up an early scene in the latest episode 8, by the way.
Oh, 8, not, I said 7, didn't I?
You did. But episode 8, I just want to bring up one of the earlier scenes. It's about like 8 or 9 minutes in. When the Kaminoans bring up a certain someone that they are hiring as a backup source to get Omega back to Kamino because they feel like the Empire is taking over their plan to maintain their business.
Right.
So there was a lot of like theories going on in my head this whole entire episode. But a lot of the theories that people are talking about is like it's Star Killer. They're trying to make Star Killer and things like that. What did you think of when they were bringing that up? Did you think they were just talking about another bounty hunter, or did you think they were talking about Crosshair?
Well, alright, so I'll address the thing on Star Killer really quick. So, just for anyone who doesn't know, there was a theory going out there that the reason why the Kaminoans were trying to get Omega back is to use her as a new template instead of the Django template, because she's special. We know that she's a clone like the Bad Batch, and she has inherited traits, and there's a theory that she is all of them combined in some certain, in some way. And one of the theories that was that they were going to make Galen Merrick, otherwise known as Star Killer, from the Force Unleashed series canon, and that was going to be the Kaminoans' contingency. And then, like Frenchie said, the Kaminoans have a resource that they have employed to try to get Omega back. So, who is that, and why are they trying to get Omega back? What are they going to use her for as a template? So do you want to bring up that scene? Do we have it up? So right here. All right, you on the stream, French?
Yep.
All right, so we'll hit play here. We'll just watch for a second.
Longer delay. The Empire's mission on
Oh, you whore, Frenchie.
Longer delay. The Empire's mission on Braca poses a threat to our contingency plan. I will have to call upon further assistance.
Is that wise? We already have someone handling matters.
As long as one of these bounty hunters deliver the young clone intact, that is all that should concern us.
So, that being said, he said additional support, and then she says, I forget her name actually, that they already have someone on it, and I believe that would be Fennec, who we saw in previous episodes.
That is what I believe as well. And then, if you listen, Prime Minister literally says, as long as one of these bounty hunters brings her
right,
back,
as long as one of them, so implying multiple.
At that point, I was like, okay, well, who's he talking about? Is he talking about Boba Fett? Because Boba would still be decently young at this point. So I was like, if it's Boba, then he's going to have Aurra Sing and all that nonsense. But then I was like, nah, it probably ain't Boba, because they could just use Boba as genetic alternate because he's an unaltered clone. So then that would defeat that purpose. So then I got thinking throughout the whole episode, who is it? But besides that, I just kind of let the episode play, and this was a really good episode. Otto, is there anything you'd like to bring up about this episode?
Just to your point about Boba the Bounty Hunter, I think the other thing too is I don't think Boba really cares to have any involvement with the Kaminoans anymore. And I think the Kaminoans contingency relies on, clones who are altered, like the Bad Batch, like Omega. The gifted clones. Boba is unaltered, so he could potentially have, better DNA. But I think that they really want to have the sort of genetically advanced clones. Other things about the episode, yeah, I feel like last couple episodes, I think the last 3 episodes, we haven't seen updates on Crosshair and everything. But this episode, which is called Reunion, which I think is for more than one reason, because there is, of course, the conflict that we see between the Bad Batch and Crosshair, so that was the one reunion. And then I guess we can spoil it here, so there are spoilers. And I'll make sure I put a little reminder in the beginning of the video as well. But the other bounty hunter who we see other than Fennec is none other than Cad Bane, who makes his first on-screen appearance in 9 years, actually. A new on-screen appearance, that is, in 9 years. We haven't seen him. And so I think the other reason for naming the episode Reunion was because Omega will most likely be brought back to the Kaminoans before the Bad Batch can intercept. And I think that might play into a bit of the Kamino uprising, because now the Bad Batch knows how to remove chips, right? And the Kaminoans have some sort of contingency in place. So there was also the theory that they were going to just mass deactivate the chips. And if she does get back to Kamino, then the Bad Batch are going to have to go do a rescue mission. So at which point they could also save Crosshair. So I don't know. What do you think about kind of those points?
Actually, those are some pretty good points. I never actually thought about that. But to bring up the Kaminoan uprising, they are obviously, if she gets back to Kamino, Bad Batch is definitely going to follow, especially with Hunter as the leader. Hunter is like a father to her. It's, you've seen it grow over the episodes. He cares deeply about her. If they go back to holy Christ.
Dude, I keep saying that too because I'm trying to say Kaminoans, but then Kamino, yeah, dude.
So anyway, if they do go back to Kamino, if they make it back to Kamino, it's going to turn into one of them aspects where, are they going to deactivate inhibitor chips to get more clones to wake up and be like, oh, what are we doing? Are they going to go there to save Omega and try and save Crosshair? Or are they just going to go there, try and get Omega and get out? And then, that's going to turn into where, they have an inhibitor chip installed into Omega or something like that at this point, or a tracker. It's interesting theories to bring up, but also to pinpoint the name of the episode, Reunion. I think there's a third. It's a little deeper. It's a little bit more of a dig, but like you said, we haven't seen Cad Bane on screen in almost 9 years. So it's a reunion for him in the Star Wars series. And this leads up to, there's that unfinished episode in the Clone Wars where him and Boba have a shootout and he gets killed. Right? Obviously that didn't happen. From what we know of, it hasn't happened. So that leads into, is Cad Bane going to be alive during, per se, Book of Boba? Or Book of
Right.
Fett, my bad.
There was rumors of that. That he could
Right.
still be alive for that.
So if he's not dead from Boba Fett, is he gonna be in Book of Fett? And then we will see that shootout, but as an older Fett instead of a child Fett.
Yeah, no, that's a good point as well. Or maybe that shootout might take place sometime in the Bad Batch. I mean, we saw it. We saw it was almost the same format. It was Cad Bane versus Hunter in that shootout, but Hunter lost rather than Cad Bane losing. So that was interesting. So it was sort of paying homage. What's that?
Do you want to bring that scene up?
Oh yeah. Let's bring that up.
Views.
So it's toward the end here. Let me know when you're on the stream, because I got it.
Yeah, I'm on the stream.
All right, so we'll play this.
She's with us. She's not going anywhere.
That's unfortunate. for you.
My hands were sweating this entire scene.
Yeah, I knew Hunter was gonna lose because I was just like, there's no way, even though they're kind of paying homage to that unfinished scene where Cad Bane loses, but I couldn't see a situation where he would win, just plot-wise. So there's that. Hunter gets incapacitated, and let's see, what else? Do we want to talk about the scene with Crosshair and how he gets his face fucking torn off?
Yeah, that was I was bringing that up when we were skipping through. You see that he's like all masked up and whatnot. So what does that bring to him? Is he gonna be unimportant anymore to the Empire? I mean, he's got a freaking leg tore up, his face is burnt from the engine, backfiring. I mean, is he going to be a valuable asset anymore? Is he going to still be able to command this special operations team?
Right. Is it like one of those homages to Vader as well? You know, just getting messed up. Right. Is he gonna need like any cybernetics or anything like that? Or how long is he going to be out of commission for? Or is it just going to make him more bitter? Because we know that he's under influence of the inhibitor chip and they've enhanced it. So how much of Crosshair is still... Because like Rex and Wrecker were able to testify to the fact that even when it's activated, you're still... It's like you're kind of you're a spectator to your own actions, right? You're just kind of sitting in the passenger seat. So begs the question is how much of Crosshair is still left?
Right, especially with how much they've enhanced it.
Right, so could the inhibitor chip, the removal of it, make him really sick or even kill him at this point?
Right, because I believe it was episode 7 when they removed the inhibitor chips, they state that it is dangerous and they could die from removing it because it is part of their quote-unquote DNA, as it were. It's inhibited into their brain. And then, like you were saying, they literally are like ghosting their own bodies. They watch their body do the actions and they can't stop it.
Right.
Like Wrecker apologized to Omega and said, I tried to fight it. Like, it just, this series has brought out the emotion of Order 66 that you really haven't seen, because you see it a little bit in the end of Clone Wars, but besides that, in Revenge of the Sith, you see a bunch of Jedi get shot down and you're like, oh no. Big whoop. This Jedi getting shot, they shouldn't have been so freaking self-centered. You know what I mean? You don't feel bad for the Jedi, but after watching the Clone Wars and then the Bad Batch, you're like, man, the Jedi really got the shitty end of the stick here.
Yeah.
But the clones, they got the worst end of it because they had to kill their own generals and they watched themselves do it and they couldn't stop it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we saw the scene in the well, here's the thing: is there's the debate whether or not the inhibitor chips kind of make clones worse or make them more like stormtroopers, but we saw that scene of them down in the mess hall where the clones were just being clones, and I think the inhibitor chip kicks in just more when they're on duty, right? And I think the other thing too is I think the clones, after what they went through, and you and I talked about this at length, I feel like that they're just bitter. I feel like that they're more serious and everything is just because they've seen what they were having that out-of-body experience, watching themselves betray the Republic, and I think, carrying out the mission that was in their nightmares for all those years, and then I think they're just bitter. So,
I agree, 100%. What's crazy to me is like, you look at what happened to Wrecker to make his inhibitor chip activate. Was he took massive like head blows multiple times throughout the season so far. Crosshair, it seems like the more damage that gets done to his body, the more bitter he gets. So he has that different personality than Wrecker. So is his personality, even if the inhibitor chip was to get removed, would he just be loyal to the Empire anyway?
Right.
Because before the inhibitor chip even activated all the way, back in the first episode, he was like down to kill Caleb Doom. And his inhibitor chip was there, but it wasn't. So even without it, I think he would still follow the Empire, to be honest, in my opinion. I don't think he would turn against them if it got removed.
Yeah, that's true, because he was, and I know people were going to say, no, he was under full influence of the inhibitor chip, but he wasn't, because he would have done what Wrecker did and automatically called him out on, being traitors for not doing Order 66, and he was, and started trying to shoot them and everything like that.
Right,
so,
he was conflicted. He was conflicted the entire time. I think after the enhancement, even if they remove the chip and it doesn't kill him, I think he's just permanently going to be Empire.
Yeah, and then there was, of course, the theory that, because there was Squad 99, and there's Clone Force 99, so we thought that, well, is Clone Force 99 going to become Squad 99 and make that canon? And I think even though they removed their inhibitor chips, they might still do that, because in the episode with Rafa, and they were like, well, in the end, everyone chooses a side, trust me, and then it zoomed in on Hunter, like a little bit of foreshadowing there, possibly. So, and then again, when Echo says, what else do we do? We're soldiers, like, we're just soldiers. So are they going to become like a mercenary force, or are they just going to concede to the Empire, and that's that? And I think they would definitely concede to the Empire if Omega was beyond saving.
Yeah, and we had talked about that before. If Omega gets turned to be basically the slave driver of the Kaminoans, like, if she becomes a part of them, I think Hunter will bow down to the Empire, and I think the others will follow because they look at Hunter as their leader, per se.
Yeah.
So I think 100% if Omega doesn't get saved, I think they will bow down to the Empire. Or, like we had thought in the first couple episodes, how is this going to end? Because that's how we always think. If Omega gets either injured, killed, or turned, I think they're going to go out in a gunfight, blaze of glory, and we're going to see, like, first person, like, each one of them dying. And it's just going to be kind of one of those...
Yeah, kind of like a Rogue... like a Rogue One moment, because we don't see any of them in Rebels. Not that I think that they were even thought ahead at that point for Rebels, because Rebels is also pretty old at this point, believe it or not. And so there were some theories that Filoni doesn't really have the heart to kill them off, and that he might make some weird excuse as to why they survive. I don't know. I'm still I'm going for either they turn. I'm 50-50 on if they turn or become like a mercenary force. Or excuse me, not the mercenary. I'm sorry. I'm 50-50 on them turning or dying. So mercenary force, I mean, they're kind of familiar to it. They might, split up, go their own ways, but I mean, they're a team though, so I don't think that they would do that.
Yeah. So I've noticed it throughout this series. The one that's kind of conflicted is Echo. Echo sees that he's part of, Clone Force 99. He's part of the Bad Batch. He's like them, but at the same time, he's a reg. You know what I mean? He still has that mentality, just like Rex. He's a reg. He fought for the Republic. He's a soldier. That's all he knows. Whereas Clone Force 99, they have this new aspect of taking care of Omega, protecting Omega. He does that too, but at the same time, like he mentions in this episode, if we left with Rex, we wouldn't have to worry about our debt. So
yeah, so maybe even Echo goes to join the rebellion at one point, because he's a soldier. It's what he knows. It's what he knows how to do.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if mercenary work is a permanent, would be a permanent thing for him. I think that, Wrecker, Tech, and Hunter wouldn't care about doing mercenary work. They're pretty much indifferent. Yeah. I think Echo still has a lot of fight in him, considering, despite what he's going through, what he's been through.
I guess Echo really is as weird as it is to say, because you'd think Omega would be the oddball of the group, but Echo's really the oddball. you see it. You've seen it multiple times throughout this series so far. He kind of disagrees with the way Bad Batch operates, and he still kind of has that reg mentality, but he doesn't. He's not a reg anymore. He's a part of the Bad Batch, but some of the things they do and some of the choices they make, he disagrees because he has that reg mentality. He was a damn ARC trooper. Like, he made it from a shiny on the Rishi moon all the way to basically the end of the Clone Wars as an ARC trooper until he was expected dead on the, I can't think what it's called.
It was the Citadel raid with
yes.
Tarkin, and then it was brought to Skako Minor, and we all know what happened there.
Yeah. But so I think there was some good scenes in this episode. I think if they follow up on episode 9, with this same drive that they put into this episode, we'll have a good turning point for the series.
Yeah, I think the turning point. Well, here's the other worry too: is not only just the turning point, but now we're starting to get some real plot developments. It seemed like it kind of slowed down, and we're on episode 8. So, do we think it's going to be one season? You know, like, are they kind of starting to come full circle here, where we start to see the sort of climax that we've been building up for? But I mean, I'm not sure. I think it could go to a second season, but at the same time, I think that, you know, episode 8, they're probably going to be brought back to Kamino, and then it might not be until episode 10 where we see what the Kaminoans contingency was. So I think that also depends on when that drops, on the possibility of it'll really rely on when they drop what their contingency plan is, and then how much time how many episodes does the Bad Batch have to resolve it, right? Before we can really start gauging if there's going to be another season or not. Which they totally could, because I mean, they have many years before Rebels even starts. They could do another season. Right. Yeah. So could we see more like next season could be focused on a lot more of clones, or normal recruits being integrated with clones and clones phasing out, and then things of that nature.
Really see the Empire take form.
Yeah, you could even see Vader. Like, I mean, Vader exists like literally right now. So, but I'm not gonna bank on any of that. I think other YouTube channels probably would like love to jump on that bandwagon there. You mentioned Vader, and yeah, but I think they just have plenty of room for creativity. And I haven't seen anything if they have released. I mean, it could very well be that they say it's only going to be one season. I have not like looked if there is a definitive answer or not. So
the only thing I know of is that this season is 16 episodes. I don't know if there's gonna be a second. I haven't seen anything about it. I'm not really looking for it. You know, if it's one season, it's one season. As long as it's a good season, and right now they're turning around to be a good season. The beginning was a little bumpy. Episode 1 was really good, and then episode 2 and all the way up until I got to Braca, really was a little
slow.
Bumpy, a little rough, a little rough.
Like the whole episode, like we didn't need a whole episode to introduce Fennec. I mean, even if you didn't know, who Fennec was from watching Mandalorian, I mean, it's just a new villain, right? You don't need really a whole, like, we get it. Bounty hunter. How many times have we seen new bounty hunters show up and you want the kid, blah, we get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, like, there wasn't a whole episode needed. You could have done that in the middle of an episode where they're trying to do something else. They were just on the planet. And then the other thing is, they kind of spent a lot of time, like, making up. You could tell they were just kind of making up content to drag out the episodes to get to this point.
The side missions, like going to Corellia. Right. I mean, that, like, you had to go to, like, they had to go to Corellia so then Rafa could, tell Rex where the Bad Batch was. But again, do you need a whole thing for that? I don't necessarily think so. Again, it was kind of like what people were saying with the.
Dave, but...
Yeah, it's kind of like what people were saying with the Mandalorian in the first season, like just side mission, waiting an entire week for the episode, and it's just a side mission.
Yeah, same deal, same exact deal.
Like, I appreciate a slow burn, but I think there is such thing as too slow or just not relevant.
Yeah,
but
Right, because like I stated, like we're halfway through this season now, and we slow burn to this point. So like they gotta throw the hyperdrive on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They gotta pick it up a little bit.
yeah, and I think the other thing too to remember is we are only halfway through, right? So that's still a lot of episodes. That's still 8 whole episodes to do still. So I mean that's still a lot. We could even see the resolution between the Kaminoans contingency and what Bad Batch does, and plus a little extra, right? I mean, like they have room to wiggle here.
Right. Let's talk about the planet for a second. I just want to bring up, because I don't think a lot of people know that this planet has already been mentioned before. Because
yeah,
a lot of people, they saw, what was it, Jedi Fallen Order.
Yep.
Yeah. Like myself, I haven't played that game, and I know a lot of other Star Wars fans, they didn't really want to play it. They just felt like it was a Force Unleashed reskinned with some new features.
Yeah, like
and
a Force Unleashed, like Dark Souls. Force Unleashed Dark Souls.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw some gaming content, and I 100% it right on that bandwagon. And I don't jump on bandwagons very often, but that's 100% what it was, in my opinion. So I think a lot of people steered away from that game. I know a lot of people didn't.
Yeah, it's still a pretty successful game if I remember their sales.
Right. Yes, but this planet is actually where the entire game starts off. They're in orbit over this planet. So I think that's really cool to not necessarily pay homage, but to bring that back into an animated form to see what the planet really is, because you just see it for a little bit in that game, and then it's kind of you're a Jedi running around playing freaking scavenger basically. It was really cool to see it in this light and see like what is actually still on this planet. Like they have whole Venators that are crashed here and scrapped here.
Yeah, Ray would love it.
The scrappers, and then to see, Ray would love it. You're right, Ray would love it. And then to see the scrappers, that was really cool to see them in this episode. Actually, even though it wasn't for long, just to see them, in the beginning, see Wrecker take them on and Echo take them on. It was a really cool beginning to the episode. I just think they picked up the pace just like they needed to. Now, if they just maintain that pace, maybe just a little bit slower, it'll be a good second half of the season, for sure. Did you want to bring up the theories that we were talking about the other day? Did you want to bring those up?
Which one? Remind me. Which one? We're always talking about theories.
Yeah.
So we went over Galen Merrick. Yeah, we went over that one.
We talked about that one. Well, I guess we already covered most of them because we talked about Squad 99. There was one more, but I can't think of what it was. If we do think of it, we can throw it in.
It was the Kaminoan Uprising. We talked about that. If that is still an option.
If that is an option, well, let's bring that to more light. How do we think, if that is an option, if that is going to happen, how do you think it's going to happen? Besides what we already talked about with them going back to save Omega, do you think that they're breeding clones right now without the inhibitor chips, or how do you think that's going to go about?
That's what I would think, is because if they're trying to get Omega, they need her for something. So I don't know if they need it might not even be the DNA template. Maybe they just need to download like copies of her, of the way she thinks, right? Because we've already seen even Tech mentioned how intuitive she is and inquisitive. Because what are they gonna do? All right, let's breed clones in secret for 5 years. That's our contingency. I would think that they had a better plan than that. Right. So maybe they do already have or even clones that they haven't released yet. Because I doubt or maybe clones that are still young that they could put into the simulators. So I think maybe we could see a reprogramming of clones that haven't gone through their full simulations or things of that nature that could be deployed immediately after getting some sort of reprogramming. Or again, the theory was somehow the Kaminoans deactivate their programming somehow. So I think that their contingency plan is still very much an enigma, but I think we can definitely say for sure that it's not Galen Merrick, and everyone needs to shut up about those clickbait titles.
I agree.
Because that is just a dumb. I mean, that is just a dumb theory. Like that isn't even within. No, stop.
Yeah, that's just like I can't. It was so long ago. This is a little off topic, but like those old theories of like the color of your lightsaber means something.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Can we talk about that really quick? Let's talk about that just really quick. This is off topic, but this is one of my biggest pet peeves. The color of your lightsaber does not mean anything. The reason why it started to mean something was because Star Wars: The Old Republic came out, and they were like, oh, and then you'll look like, oh, a green is for Guardian and Sage. I'm like, those are literally the names of two classes of counselor in Star Wars: The Old Republic. Or oh, you use dual lightsabers, so you're a Marauder. I'm like, well, look, or double double lightsaber, so you're an Inquisitor. I'm like, well, Darth Maul used a double saber, and he would be like a Marauder type, right? Like,
yeah. He was very weak in the Force, as far as Force powers, like Force lightning and things like that.
Yeah, he was but he was a duelist. He was like right. A Count Dooku. Like Count Dooku was strong in both, but Count Dooku was a swordsman. Same thing with Maul. Maul was a duelist, like swordsman.
Right, and then like Vader, obviously after and before when he was Anakin, was a duelist. They didn't focus on the Force. Obi-Wan, he focused on the Force, but he was a good duelist.
Right.
And then you have somebody like Yoda, he could duel, but he focused on the Force. You know what I mean? The
right.
color doesn't mean anything. It just so happens. And if you watch the Clone Wars, you literally see Ahsoka take younglings to Ilum to get their crystals. The crystal calls out to them. They aren't, at that point, how do you know if they're a Guardian, a Marauder, or whatever the hell? You know what I mean? You don't know.
Exactly.
They don't know.
Your fighting style's up to you. And same thing with, Ahsoka Tano's original light, she was a dual-bladed green lightsaber using Jedi. And she was a duelist as well, so she wasn't like a right. Guardian or a Sage, or whatever the heck. Oh my gosh, that's my biggest pet peeve, bro. It's like I always see like on Instagram, it's like what your lightsaber color means about you. It's like, bro, it don't mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. Like,
yeah, I get really triggered by those clickbait videos, especially because like people like somebody like myself, and you included, and a lot of the viewers that are watching, we see something like, hey, Vader is in the Bad Batch. Did you miss it? I'm like, oh shit, I missed it, and I click on it, and I watch this whole video, and they're sitting here talking about nonsense about how Vader might be in the upcoming episodes, and I'm like, no, that's not what the video, like, I clicked on this because I was looking for Vader, and you didn't show me Vader, you brought up nonsense to get views, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
don't be clickbaity, just tell me what you're trying to tell me, and that's the end of it. If you want to talk about theories all day, but don't be telling me that there's something in it.
Yeah, don't ever watch Bombastic, don't ever watch Geetsleys, don't ever watch Rome SW, because Rome SW just posts clips. I hate that too. It's like, watch this 1 minute clip from the episode, like, and then they're like, thanks guys for all the subs. It's like, bro, they're not sub because of you, bro. They're sub because like you're posting clips from the episode, pirating it. Like, like it's not your content. It's not even like your channel, bro. But yeah, Geetsleys is really bad. The Eckhart's Ladder has starting to go off the deep end. Like, I don't even know why, because he's been really, really, really good. I haven't watched any of his recent videos, so I can't speak to those. But yeah, I've completely blocked Bombastic and Geetsleys for their just clickbaity out of the, Galen Merrick is gonna come back. Like, what? Just BS. And plus, Eckhart's Ladder does a lot with Empire at War, so he's pretty cool.
Yeah. I enjoy him for his Empire War content. Him and XP Gamer, they give me a lot of inspiration on how to play my own campaigns. Especially like the one I'm doing right now. I just watched Eckhart play Fall of the Republic not long ago, actually, and it was a nice little boost to see the newer things in the game. And I was like, okay, this will help me in my campaign that I'm gonna launch. So.
Yeah, well, I think that's a pretty good inauguratory episode. We were kind of all over the place. But like Frenchie said, he is doing an Empire at War campaign. It's Fall of the Republic, right?
Yep, Fall of the Republic, version 1.1. I just started it, 2 days ago. 2 days ago I just started it. Episode 2 is coming out tonight, so tomorrow, most likely, by the time this episode is out, or this video is out. And then episode 3 will be sometime later in the week.
Yeah.
And these podcasts, they're kind of when things come up, like when we see things on YouTube that are clickbait, we want to discuss them. Or if a new Bad Batch episode comes out, so every weekend roughly. But then also this channel is not just podcasts. So if you are looking for just normal gaming content that isn't necessarily Star Wars, like if you're just looking for some fun Minecraft content, or
we're gonna be doing some Minecraft stuff. Frenchie Knife server, yep.
Right. Yeah, or some co-op campaigns of Total War, or even Star Wars gaming, or maybe you want to watch the classic Battlefront 2. This is also a gaming channel, so we will be doing gaming content as well. The podcast is the main thing, but the gaming content is just kind of one of those, hey, here's some content for you to watch. So there's a little bit of everything on the channel. Just keep your eyes open, and once we get the ball rolling, you'll pick up on the schedule really quick.
Yeah, so thanks for coming to the first episode of our podcast, the Wolf Den Podcast. We're going to be doing, like Frenchie said, a podcast probably every week, so look out for those, and they're going to be a lot more organized than this. This was just our inaugural episode, so I guess we'll see everyone next week.